atoms rather than destroying the atoms themselves. The atoms simply rearrange to form new bonds.
This lab lets you conduct, observe, and classify different chemical reactions. You will also practice balancing chemical equations.
You'll perform 6 reactions using copper and its 2+ cation. You'll also learn how to safely handle corrosive compounds that include strong acids and bases.
Let's get started. Once you've obtained 0.5 grams of copper, cut the ribbons into small pieces that you will then place into a 250 milliliter beaker.
When obtaining the nitric acid, be sure that you handle with care. Concentrated nitric acid is extremely corrosive, so if you get any on your hands, be sure to wash them immediately with cold water. Once you've obtained your 4 milliliters of nitric acid, add it to the flask containing copper.
Remember, this part should be done underneath the hood. Now we can add the nitric acid.
Once the reaction begins to calm down, carefully swirl the solution until the gas goes away. As the gas starts to dissipate, you'll notice that the brown color will leave the solution.
It was fairly easy to tell that this was a chemical change, being that the copper has now disappeared. But what other observations could you make to classify this as a chemical reaction?
Well, brown gas was made, and the solution changed colors, and the beaker is warmer now than it was before we added the nitric acid.
Yeah. For the remainder of this lab, you will be testing copper to see if there are different chemical reactions.
You'll also handle chemicals that are both toxic and corrosive, so remember to handle with extreme care. And also be sure to thoroughly wash the graduated cylinder in between uses.
Once you've chemically changed the copper into different complex ions and compounds, you will then attempt to recover the copper.
Theoretically, you should be able to recover all the copper you started with, but chances are you lost some along the way.
Once you've obtained the pieces of the copper, you will then use a Buchner funnel to separate the pieces.
Now, if all of the solid doesn't go into the Buchner, you can always spray water into the flask to remove the solid.
Once you've answered all of the questions in your lab manual, be sure to dispose of the material and put away your glassware. It is okay to put the filtrate down the sink, just be sure to wash it down with plenty of water.